You paid cash, no mortgage, no bank. The deed has your name on it, so the land is yours forever, right? That is what people believe, until the county, a neighbor, or a stranger with a forged signature takes it. After years of buying problem parcels and untangling other people's messes, I have watched owners lose land they paid for in full. So here are 11 ways you can get kicked off your own land, and how to stop each one. Let's start with the one that quietly takes more land than anything else: property taxes. Here's the thing people forget. Owning land outright does not end your bill. It starts a permanent one. Miss it, and the county does not just send a friendly reminder. It starts a clock to sell your property right out from under you. In Michigan, for example, unpaid taxes run a 3-year forfeiture and foreclosure process. And on March 31st of that third year, the land is simply gone. Some states move even faster, referring you to foreclosure within a couple of months of going delinquent. For generations, when that land sold, the county kept every dollar, even the part far above what you actually owed. That finally changed in 2023, when the Supreme Court ruled in Tyler versus Hennepin County that the surplus has to be returned to you. But understand, you still lose the land, so know your due dates, set reminders, and the moment you fall behind, call the treasurer and ask about a payment plan. Most will set one up, but blow past the redemption deadline, and there is nothing left to redeem. Now that is the government. Number 2 is a private group with shocking power over your home, the HOA. Most people have no idea that a homeowners association can foreclose on a fully paid-off house over nothing but unpaid dues. And we are not talking about huge sums here. In California, an HOA can foreclose once you owe just $1,800, or you are 12 months behind. In Texas, there is no floor at all. They can move on you over almost any unpaid amount, however small. And in some states, like Colorado, the HOA gets what is called a super lien for several months of dues that outranks even your mortgage. Here is the part that really gets people. That lien attaches automatically the second you are late, before they file a single piece of paper. So if you buy into an HOA community, treat those dues exactly like a mortgage payment. Read the rules, watch out for surprise special assessments, and never let a balance quietly pile up in the background, because a few $100s in forgotten dues has genuinely cost people their homes. But sometimes the thing that takes your land isn't a bill at all. It's a patch of tall grass. Number 3 is code enforcement. Let your property slip out of compliance. 4-foot weeds, dumped junk, a structure left to rot, and the county can step in, fix it themselves, and send you the bill. And that cost does not just go away. It becomes a lien attached to your land, and an unpaid lien can be foreclosed on, exactly like back taxes. Here's what really catches people off guard. A lot of these liens don't even show up on public record, but they are absolutely still there, and they transfer right along with the property. So if you buy or inherit a parcel that once had a home on it, you can quietly inherit somebody else's cleanup bill too. The fix here is boring, but it works. Keep the lot maintained, mow it, haul off the junk, and if you ever get a notice of violation, do not ignore it. Call your county or city code enforcement office and clear it fast, because the longer it sits, the bigger that lien grows. Now here's one that sounds completely impossible until it happens to you. Number 4 is adverse possession. Someone can move on to land you own, stay there long enough, and legally walk away with the title. I'm serious. If a person occupies your property openly and continuously for your state's statutory period, in California, that's 5 years plus, paying the taxes on it. And in Florida, it's 7 years. They can go to court, quiet the title, and become the legal owner. Depending on the state, that window runs anywhere from about 5 to 30 years. And guess what kind of land makes the easiest target? Vacant, rural, out-of-state property that the owner basically never visits. Sound familiar? That describes most raw land out there. So the protection is simple but non-negotiable. Do not let your land sit ignored for years. Visit it, or have someone you trust lay eyes on it. Post no trespassing signs. And if you ever discover someone living on or using your property, deal with it immediately, because every single year you let it slide is a year that counts against you, not them. Number 5 is the neighbor you smile and wave at. And it isn't always some stranger either. That same doctrine that lets a squatter take your land lets a neighbor slowly swallow a piece of it. They put up a fence a few feet onto your side, or they start farming right across the property line, and if it stays that way long enough, they can claim that strip as their own through adverse possession. This is incredibly common on rural parcels, where nobody has ever actually walked the real boundary. Most owners just assume the old fence is the line, when half the time it isn't even close. So before you take anything for granted about where your land ends, pay for a real survey with stakes driven on the corners. And if you find a neighbor's fence, shed, or driveway sitting on your side of the line, do not just be polite and let it ride for 10 years. Address it in writing right now while it is still legally yours, because staying quiet is precisely how that strip of land quietly becomes theirs. Closely related, but even sneakier, is number 6, the prescriptive easement. With this one, you do not lose ownership of the land, you lose control over it. If a neighbor crosses your property to reach their own, year after year, without your permission, they can earn a permanent legal right to keep doing it forever. In California, that takes about 5 years. In states like Florida and Massachusetts, it is closer to 20 years. And here's the part that really stings. That easement runs with the land. It does not vanish when you sell. It transfers straight to your buyer, and it can wreck your property value or kill a development plan, because suddenly there is a road through your land that you legally cannot close. Owners have actually had to buy the easement back from the neighbor. The fix, thankfully, is almost too easy. If you are going to let someone use part of your land, put it in writing as permission, a revocable license. Permission you grant on paper can never harden into a right they own, but silence, once again, is what cost you everything. Now, number 7 can come after you even when you are the one faithfully paying every bill. Picture this. You hire a contractor to clear or build something on your land, and you pay them in full. You are done, right? Not necessarily. If that contractor turns around and stiffs their own subcontractor or material supplier, those unpaid people can file what is called a mechanic's lien directly on your property and then foreclose on it, even though you already paid the contractor. In some states, like Maryland, there is no defense of payment, which is a fancy way of saying you can legally be forced to pay twice for the very same work, and that lien just sits on your title, blocking any sale or refinance until it is cleared. So anytime you have real work done on your land, protect yourself up front. Get a signed lien waiver from the contractor and from every sub and supplier, or pay everyone with joint checks. It feels like overkill right up until the day a supplier you have never even met files a claim against land you thought was free and clear. But honestly, the scariest threat of all does not require your land to have a single thing wrong with it. Number 8 is deed fraud, also known as home title theft. Here is how it actually works. A scammer forges your signature on a quitclaim deed and records it down at the county. Recording offices generally check the formatting of that document, not the identity of the person filing it. So it goes right through. On paper, your land now belongs to them. Then they sell it to an unsuspecting buyer or take out a loan against it. Their favorite targets are vacant lots, paid-off land, and out-of-state owners. In other words, exactly the people least likely to notice. The FBI logged roughly 9,500 real estate fraud complaints in a single recent year, with losses topping $145 million. Here is the kicker. Your owner's title insurance does not cover fraud that happens after you buy. So enroll in your county's free property fraud alert if they offer one, and check your records now and then yourself, because the first sign of this is usually a tax bill or a buyer showing up for a place that is still yours. Number 9 is the one threat on this list you genuinely cannot refuse: eminent domain. Under the Fifth Amendment, the government can take your private land for public use, a highway, a school, a pipeline, as long as it pays you what is called just compensation, which usually just means fair market value. You do not get to say no, you only get to argue over the price. If you think public use must have firm limits, consider Kelo versus New London, the 2005 Supreme Court case, where the government was allowed to take people's homes and hand that land over to a private developer, all in the name of economic growth. So if eminent domain ever shows up on your parcel, understand this clearly. Fighting the taking itself is usually a losing battle, but that first offer they make is almost never their best one. Hire your own appraiser and get your own number, because the gap between what they offer and what your land is truly worth can be enormous, and closing that gap is the one piece of this you can still control. Now, number 10 does not take your land away. It can quietly make it useless and bankrupt you in the process. If any part of your property is a federally protected wetland, and remember, wetlands do not always look wet. You cannot dig, fill, or grade it without a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. Do it anyway, and the consequences are genuinely brutal. In the Sackett case, a couple filled in their own lot to build a house, and the EPA ordered them to stop and restore it, with potential penalties of over $40,000 per day. I have seen owners forced to rip out roads they had already built and replant the whole area, draining their entire life savings on property they fully and legally owned. So before you move a single bucket of dirt, check the federal wetlands mapper, and if there is any doubt at all, pay for a proper delineation. It is a fraction of the cost of a federal enforcement case. And on this one, trust me, ignorance is absolutely not a defense. And finally, number 11 is for everyone out there buying cheap land on monthly payments. If you bought through owner financing, a land contract, sometimes called a contract for deed, you need to hear this carefully, because you might not actually own that land yet. Under a land contract, the seller keeps the legal title until your very last payment clears. All you hold in the meantime is equitable title, basically a right to earn ownership. And if your contract includes a forfeiture clause, missing payments can let the seller take the land right back and keep every single dollar you've already paid in. Some contracts allow that on a single missed payment, with cure windows as short as 15 days. So if you're buying on contract, read it like your future depends on it, because it does. Make absolutely sure the contract gets recorded, demand a real grace period in writing, and watch out for a balloon payment hiding at the end. Otherwise, one rough month can wipe out years of payments, and the land right along with them. Owning land is step 1. Protecting it is the rest. Subscribe so the next surprise never catches you.